All right, I think we're live now. So, welcome everyone. This is my first days out of 10 days YouTube live. I'm very excited today. The first day of the 10 days of YouTube live. I'm going to try to help my fellow IMGs to become a doctor in the US just like me. So, without further ado, because we have 30 minutes, I hope I can finish within 30 minutes. This is live, so I'm going to ramble a little bit. So, yeah, we'll see. All right. So first, I'm gonna say welcome, everyone, and a little bit about the settings. You can set up the settings to 720p. That would be a good resolutions. If you have a hardcore PCs or use Alienware, you can go up to 1080p. It doesn't matter actually. What matters is the internet. But anyway, yes, you can go to 720p or 1080p, so you can see all the words and the sentences here more clearly, right? So today's topic is about step-by-step journey how to become a doctor in US or IMG. And the goal of this presentation is basically after this presentation is done, you can visualize the path clearly and you can start taking action and start your journey. Now, if you are, I don't know where you are in your journey, right? So if you are in the middle of your journey somewhere, you know what to do next. For example, you're done with your USMLE step one and you will know what's the next thing you need to do. And if you are on research, you know what the next thing you need to do, and so on. So that's basically the idea for this presentation. Now, if you watch my YouTube video, I do have a video about step by step how to become a doctor in the US. That's very concise and summarized. But I have, of course, I have some addition in this presentation. I'm not gonna give you the exact same thing. Well, or is the same thing, but there is some additional stuff that you'll get, so you get some value out of this video. Okay. Now, I'm pretty sure you some of you don't know me, so I'm gonna tell you a little bit about myself. Basically, I'm an Indonesian IMG. I would what you call a true IMG because English is not my native language. I barely even able to order any food when I first come to the US. Very hard for me to speak. I raised in a completely different culture, so US is very very foreign for me, and I learned in a completely different medical curriculum, and it was not geared to what USMLE at all. So I'm a real IMG here. I successfully matched to internal medicine, and currently I'm practicing internal medicine in Wentworth Douglas. My main is I'm a primary care doctor, but I also take shifts, hospitalist shifts on the weekend at Wentworth Douglas Hospital. So kind of a hybrid, a little bit of both. I like doing both. I have over 3,000 hours experience in USME tutoring. That's I teach a lot of USME. I love teaching, and this one of the reason why I really love to guide my fellow IMGs so they can successfully match in the US. Now, a little bit about you. You're IMG and you're a hard worker. You are resilient because it's going to be a hard journey, and then for people who are going toward this journey and successful has to be resilience. And in general, IMGs are very, very resilient. In general, you are all respectful and open minded. Why? Because you have lived in the two different locations, I believe, at least. I mean, if you're a real IMG, right? I live in Indonesia, I live in the US, I live in two different worlds, two different cultures, two different places, completely different area, and makes you really open minded. And that's you, that's a strong asset. And believe it or not, this country needs you. You are a strong asset for the US actually. IMG is a strong asset for the medicine and healthcare workforce. And it's not only because we need to diagnose disease or cure disease, is beyond that. We help them to inspire, share our cultures, support them. There's a saying, right? To cure sometimes, but to comfort always. It's true because the reason why I know this is because I've become an attending as a primary care physician for 3.5 years now, and I've seen it how much these people actually need us. And In exchange, actually, this country give you the things that, you know, a lot, actually, a lot. Uh, this country has given me financial stability, strong education, high satisfaction of taking care of patients, because in the US there are so many resources that you can just go over the moon or over the whatever planet, whatever you want to call it. There's the stem cell, there's transplant, there's, you can just go beyond for your patients and to take care of them, and that leads to a high satisfaction, like very rewarding experience for you. And this country has given me freedom, like the American spirit, freedom. So US is always, I think, and always going to be a land of immigrants, like me, like you. And in exchange, this country is giving you something. This is just how it works. How it works. So I have basically climbed the mountain. I reached my goal, and my next dream is really helping a lot of my fellow IMGs to reach the goal as well. Okay, enough of that. I want you to get something today, right? This is step by step. So we're gonna get to the point now. So dream is you want to work as a doctor in the US, right? Not a medical scribe, not as a physician assistant, not a nurse. We want to work as a doctor. And how we do that now? I like to do it this kind of tracing it backwards, okay? And how you're gonna work in the US is you want to match into residency program. In order for you to work in the US, you have to match in residency program. Now the question is, how do I match in a residency program? The way to match is to get an interview. By getting an interview, you get a chance to match, or some people call it pre-match. Basically, you enrolled in a residency program, but you gotta get the interview first. Now, the question is how do you get an interview? And the way to get the interview is to have a great, strong CV. All right. Then the next question is, what makes a great CV? And these are all the attributes of great CV. Letter of recommendations, basically you want to have 4 of them, and personalized. Okay, if it's personalized and tells great things about you as a clinician, or maybe a researchers, but usually clinicians, then it would be a strong letter of recommendations. Good US clinical experience. You want to rotate in maybe in an inpatient settings. It could be outpatients. It doesn't really matter. But the more high tier your US clinical experience is, the better they are. Research. If you have 15, 20, 30 publications, the more publications you have and the higher tier of journal it being published, then more competitive. A good personal statement tells you who you are, that can connect to as a human being to another human being. Work experience. Some people who try to match here are already an attending, already a cardiologist of some sort. They probably have an excellent work experience. Valuable. You want to be ECFMG certified, but everybody will have to be ECFMG certified. It doesn't really make the CV competitive because it's kind of more like a mandatory. You have to be ECFMG certified. First pass of all steps, no failing, and high score. Get as high score as you can. So if you have all these, and basically these are all of them. If you have all these, your CV is great. They're gonna invite you for interview. You do your interview well, you're gonna match. Now, I have a gift for you who's hanging up with me today, which is my USMLE Test Taking Strategies. I have told you that I have over 3,000 hours of tutoring USMLE, and I have crafted USMLE Test Taking Strategies, which can boost your score instantly. Actually, I have created these test taking strategies back in the SDN forum, the Student Doctor Network forum. That was in 2017, and my ID was Lion Art, and it was a top of the Google search. If you typed USMLE test taking strategies, mine was number 1. But I put it down. Why? I don't know. It was stupid. But I put it back on, and I make video of it. So yeah, I I felt like the response, and then when I look up the search in the Google everywhere, there's some people who actually use my test taking strategies here and there. The two-run method and etc. They mentioned that as well. So yeah, I put it back. I figured I'll just put on in the video and I'll give it for free. Give it for free. It has helped a lot of people. So go ahead. The link is everywhere. I mean, I put it in my website. I put it in my YouTube as well. You'll be able to see it. Click it, get it for free. Okay. Now, so the idea of how to match is basically make a great CV, and basically great CV means that you become strong candidate. Imagine that if you're a program director, you just can't help to hire this person. Okay, be that person. Now we're gonna talk the more of the exact steps of what you need to take. Okay, because those are the things that you have to build. But what are the steps, the step by steps that you need to do? Now the first step is actually you have to confirm that you are eligible to become ECFMG certified. That is very, very important. Okay, very important. Now you have to check if your medical school is listed in World Directory of Medical Schools. If it's listed there, and there is, I believe there's a word there saying that you are eligible for ECFMG certification, then you're good. Now I will take this chance to talk a little bit about recognition accreditation policy, which is, does my medical school needs to be certified by the World Federation Medical School. That's not exactly the way to say it, but basically the national agency that accrediting the medical schools in that country is that national agency accredited by the World Federation of Medical Association, WFME, and there is another one, NCA something. Sorry, I forgot the name. That is called the recognition accreditation policy. But as far as I know, in 2024, it does not, even if it's not listed in WFME, you still can be ECFMG certified, and you can check that in ECFMG website. And I put the video about that as well. Now, there's some controversy here. I actually checked some other people who's also a YouTuber, and then put information out there saying that, oh no, in 2024 they start implementing this rule, therefore you may not be able to SCMU certified. But I checked the website, I read it, I tried to give it to some other people and to read it, and I used ChatGPT to elaborate it, and I have emailed ECFMG myself to confirm, is it true that you cannot be ECFMG certified if in 2024 if you don't have the WFME accredited your national agency? And they said no, that's not true. So I don't know what else to say. That as far as I know, you should be able to be ECFMG certified. Now, of course, the safe game plan would be if you're both recognized by WFME and have in a World Directory Medical School, there shouldn't be any problem for you. But if there's one that's not clear, that's as far as I can tell you. If you're still not sure, go ahead and ask ECFMG and try to confirm it. Okay. Now the second step is the hidden step. I didn't mention this in my step-by-step guide in my YouTube video last week, which is make sure that you have a good reputation, your medical school and medical council in you. Why? It's simple actually. When you go to the ECFMG 6 pathways, if you go to pathway 1, there you need to have a letter of good standing. So if you had any issue, I don't know, whatever issue you had, if when you're practicing, and for if you feel like, well, probably I won't be able to get a letter of good standing because I have done blah blah blah, I don't know, then it could be a problem. Because imagine you've done your USMLE step, done with your OET, and then comes the ECFMG certification, and then suddenly, whoops, you can get letter of good standing because you have done blah blah blah. I don't want that to happen to you. So that's why I said that you have to have good reputation both in medical school and medical council. And some people may have violated some form of medical school agorism or something. You have to be very careful because the other pathway 2, 3, 4, or even when you start to apply CFMG and then USMLE, you need to have a good connection with your medical school. And if you have any issue with that, I don't know, make sure you have good reputation. 3, once you confirm that you can be ACFMG certified and there should be anything that would cause you any problem, then the next thing is to sign up and create your ECFMG ID. Then register your USMLE Step 1 exam. Now, this is very important because if you don't start registering, then this is truly happened. You can try to prepare for USMLE step one. You study, and then it's when you start to register, there is so much delay on the paperwork. Now you don't want to do that. So that's why I want you to register early on, know exactly when you're gonna take the exam, and then do it. Okay. Now once you're done for step one, then you start preparing for step two, and the same steps as before. You register and then just put your eligibility period, and then start preparing studying. But once you're done with step one, you can start searching for USC rotations and maybe some research opportunity. Why? It's simple because most of the USC rotations require you to have step one. That does not really require you to have step two. So that's why you can start search early. And once you complete the step two CK, then you can go for USCE. But of course, you want to be ECFMG certified, so prepare and complete your occupational English test exam. This is a replacement for step 2 CS. Not really, because you need to go through the one of the ECFMG 6 pathways, which we're gonna discuss next. And once you don't have to really obtain ECFMG certification and then go travel to the US, because there's gonna be in process. There are dates for that you have to pay attention with. But once you get all this done while pending on the documentations, if you got a rotations or you get a position for research, you travel to the US, you build your CV from there. Once you build your CV, you got letter of recommendations, then you start create ERAS applications, build your CV, experience, etc. Make your personal statement, and then you're gonna submit that and then wait for interview. Hopefully you got the interview if your CV is strong. And then once the interview seasons are done, you rank your program. Maybe you can get a pre-match. That is possible. I didn't discuss about the pre-match here, but yeah. And then you match. That's it. Those are basically the steps. Now I didn't mention about the step 3 here, but I did mention step 3 on my YouTube video last week. And basically, you want to do step 3 when you're in the US. Why? Because you can only do step 3 when you're in the US. You can't do a step 3 in your home country. That's the rule. So take a chance, do step 3 before when you are in the US. Now I have another gift for you today, which is my USCE Essentials guide for IMG. It has what is USCE, how important it is, how valuable that is, when to start searching. That I already answered. You start searching after USMLE step 1. So the types of USCE, how to get USCE without using third-party agency, accommodation tips, and a lot more. Actually, I can add way a lot more. I will save it for later. But these are free, so get it. Timeline. We'll talk about timeline a little bit. So basically, your landmark is always the ERAS application date. Why? Because that does not change. Your landmark is always something that doesn't change, right? So that will happen around early mid-September every year. So that's the time when you submit now. So makes sense if everything is prepared about at least a month before. Earlier is better, but at least a month before. That means everything needs to be done by July. Well, it's not exactly USC and research has to be done. You can continue your research, of course, but what I'm trying to say is the things that you need to put on the ERAS applications needs to be there. Like definitely letter of recommendations. All those 4 has to be there. Then looking for the institution for USC or maybe research, you're gonna would be about 3-6 months prior. You start searching, like I said, after step 1. But I would recommend you complete step 2 before going for the rotations. Why? Well, step 2 is now scored, right? And then it's step 2 always scored. Step 1 is pass and fail, so that's why step 2 has a high emphasis. It has 3-digit score, so you want to make sure you have a good score. And on top of that, if you have completed the step 2, then you have good medical knowledge and shine. That's the reason. Now, my recommendation is to complete step 1, 6 months, step 2, 6 months. No more than that. The longer you study, the lower your score gonna be. So try to avoid that. Yeah. For OET, I would say maximum 1 month, but really depends on your English level. But can be as little as 1 week. So this is just a calendar just to show you that your ERAS application around here. So you finish everything here. Your USC research probably finished here. So these are the time when you can do all of your USC rotations. It will be the ideal spot. Remember, letter of recommendations have kind of like a expiration date. So you want to have the most fresh letter of recommendations possible that has the highest value. So that's why that's yeah, I say it that way. Okay, so how much money you need to prepare? $25,000 bucks. That's very simple, right? 25,000 bucks is on average. Of course, it can be a little bit more, it can be a little bit less, but in general, it's gonna be around $20,000. It really kind of depends. If you stay for an unpaid research positions, then you're gonna need more money than that. Let's see a little bit about the breakdown. See, some of the breakdown is this. So step one, 1195 with a standard surcharge, meaning that if you're doing it outside of the US, in the US it's cheaper, which I forgot how much, maybe 600. So they add an extra charge if you do it outside the country. Step 2 CK is that. SCFA certification 150, OET 587, B1, B2 160 if you're going for B1, B2 visa. ERS application 2279. On average, 100 programs. Prices can change. Okay, so this always change. Inflation, right? Inflation. So the total estimated cost is this, but I have not calculated the NBME or UWorld Ambus, or you want to buy some video lectures like Boards and Beyond, maybe Kaplan. I have not included step 3, but these are, it's a cost, but the biggest cost would be when you stay in the US, because around 2,000 bucks a month. You can probably survive just like me. I think I survived 1,000 bucks a month in New York in the room. But with transportations and nitty gritty details, buying some gifts for families, it's gonna be about 2,000 a month maybe. And then times 12, so 24,000. So every year you're gonna spend about that much. Okay. So you can calculate yourself. Now, if you do everything smoothly, like you do everything in your home country and then you travel to the US for the US clinical rotations, maybe a couple months of research, then the total cost probably around 25,000 bucks. But remember that the amount of money you need is gradual. The biggest one is when you travel. So the initial one, when you really start, you want to apply for register for step 1, right? The ECFMG application. You put a resource for your study. It's gonna be about 2,500 bucks. Now, this is gonna be the final slides. We're going to talk about the uncommon pathways. Well, we kind of like on time here. 53. I thought I rambled a little bit, but we're good. Okay. So the uncommon pathways. So I mentioned that the way to become a doctor in the US is through residency. But there are ways actually that you can practice and become a doctor in the US, practicing as a doctor in the US without doing residency. Well, yes. Now, the first one is, this is still residency actually, but it's another way, which is to become an international student. But I don't recommend that. The idea is this: if you become an international student and then you go to a medical school in the US, your chance of match is very high. It's gonna be close to 100%. But it's very expensive, high cost, and you have to go through MCAT. I don't recommend that path. All right. Now, the second way is through state of Tennessee. This is very new. In 2024, IMGs can go and start working without going to residency. You have like 2 years supervised practice. I think that's what they call it, a supervised practice. Um, and yeah, it's without residency. You get paid, I think, immediately. I don't know how much paid. But the issue is, this is a new path. So there's a lot of things that we don't know, like what are the criteria they're looking for to hire, right? Do they need certain research? Do they need a certain experience? So it's not really clear there. That's one disadvantage. Second disadvantage, as far as I know, in order for you to become a board eligible, you need to complete residency. Now, if you don't complete residency, you're board eligible, so you can be board certified. You can be board certified, it's gonna be hard for you to find jobs. The second thing. Third thing is that if you want to be licensed you need to complete residency. So if you don't complete residency, you cannot be licensed in the state other than state of Tennessee. So you are limited working in the state of Tennessee. Maybe some states will change in the future. Who knows? Like, I don't know. But there's these uncertainties that there's a chance that you can only stay in Tennessee. Do you want to stay in Tennessee? This is a safe place. I don't know. Look for yourself. So those are the three things that make it uncertain. So in and of course there is no other way to get to residency we working in the US without you actually doing USMLE. So USMLE is a must. There's no way around it. Even the American grads have to do USMLE. Like of course the IMG will have to do USMLE, right? So those are the things about this. Actually, I didn't put the third one. There's a third one, but I didn't put it here. Third one is actually you go through fellowship and then you go to residency. So there are a lot of open positions for fellowships. There are like specific fellowships because in US there are so many interesting field that you can join to, and you can try to do fellowship first. That may be less competitive compared to residency. But again, you have to complete the USMLE, and you probably can be stuck because once you complete that, you cannot be state licensed anywhere because you have to complete residency to become licensed in most states in the US. So in the end, you will have to do residency. Now, of course, that could be an interesting spot. I mean, interesting path. Just like when you did your if you go to Tennessee and then start working and then do residency, because rather than doing maybe USCE, you have a clear experience of taking care of patients. You just flip it back. Now you go to residency, which whatever residency you want to do, probably you have a better chance of matching. But these are just a little bit kind of like a speculations from my standpoint because this is really new. But I figure I throw it out there, just to make it complete and additional of on top of the video that I made last week. Okay, that's all I have to say. Thank you for all of you joining here today. And if you have any question, I will, stick around a little bit more and then see if you have any questions. All right, I will end the stream tonight. And thank you for all of you who are watching. And because this is going to be in YouTube, it's going to be recorded. So if you have any questions, put in the comments. I'll jump in and I'll answer you after. All right. And have a good night.